few quick things that I've done since the last couple of days is I went ahead and made my sling from the paracord, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I like the idea of having the paracord, but I'm not sure I care for the adjustable part being black nylon. I'm going to look into maybe finding a YouTube video out there about how to make an adjustable sling that's completely paracord. But in the meantime, it'll work, and it does look okay. I just think it would be better if the whole thing was paracord. But one thing I'm happy with is the bipod pull that I made, also out of paracord. I'd seen these with some of the 3-gun open guys, and I'm kind of up in the air as to whether or not it's something that I want on what I'm thinking of as kind of a service rifle, because it does run the risk when you're moving through thick woodline to reach out and grab something. But there's pretty big value in it for rapidly deploying the bipod, and just being able to reach up and snap it down. And I don't think when it's folded that it really dangles so much more than the sling to be a huge concern about being caught on things. One mistake I did make is I've made the decision that I'm going to camouflage this stock, and I tied this on ahead of time, which means I'm going to have to figure out a way to cover that 550 cord before I spray paint the bipod. And that's actually what I'm going to work on today. Is I'm going to go ahead and take the action out of the stock and take the stock apart and get it ready for spray painting. I thought I was going to shoot a primer coat today, but the weather's pretty humid, so I've yet to take it apart. I did read the owner's manual, and I'll be removing these screws and basically removing the action from the stock. But let's see. And there you have it. Really simple. Used a, what is this, 3/16 Allen key and turned 3 keys, and that removed the stock from the action. And we'll get to take a look at, let's see that, thinking of mounting this rail. So I'd like to see how that fits. I don't know, I'll have to play with that. So I'm going to do some texture work on the stock at some point with my soldering iron, and then I'm going to rattle can it and camo just the stock. I'm not going to do the action. I am going to camo paint the stock. And before we start that, I want to mount the accessory rail. And I got this for 2 parts. One, I think of this as kind of a replacement for a service rifle, and I like to have tack lights on any service weapon. So that is going to be a necessity to mount a tack light. But also, this would be a pretty neat little close-in hog gun as well. And hog hunting at night, you could really benefit from a tack light. So having an accessory rail on the stock without spending a huge ton of money would be a big benefit. And since I have the bipod, my hand's not going to go any further forward than here, which means I have all of this real estate that I can work with. And looking inside, I can see these plastic ribs are positioned in a way where the barrel won't touch the sides of the stock, which means I should be able to fit the magpul spacers in without touching the stock. Now I'm going to fit it and then set the barrel in, and if there's any barrel contact with those, I'm going to have to come back later and countersink and get these a little deeper in. But for now, I'm going to try to get these positioned in here where they won't come in contact with the barrel. That's my hope, at least. So before we drill, I'm going to position this, and I got to flip it around to look at it. Since I'm rattle canning, I'm going to take my silver Sharpie, and I want to go as far forward as I can, and yet as low as possible. And I got to make sure I'm in a position where the bipod doesn't bump. And from there, since it's not hugely critical, it's not a laser, it's not an aiming device. I'm just going to eyeball it. And mark my holes. And if I screw this up, at least with the holes, I can come back later and spray paint it. So I have a 3/32 drill bit, and it's always nerve-wracking when you go to drill on something you spent this much money on. But the plus side is this is an inexpensive stock, and if I completely botch this, then it gives me an excuse to buy something nicer. Anyway, there you have it. My camera battery is running a little bit low, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, finish this up, and once I'm done, I'll show you the finished product. Inside is really tight, especially here where that sling swivel stud is, but I did manage to get the blocks in where they belong and get them cranked down fairly tight. Kept everything fairly straight, and when I put the barrel in action back in, I'm not getting any contact from the metal in there with the barrel, so we should be good to go. So I think that's it for today, and I think I'm going to call it. I'm going to cut this and make this into part 1 of the video series on the MVP, and when the weather gets better, we'll get it out and start spray painting it and do some texture work with the soldering iron.
Hey, it's Jeremy from Lucky Hat Outdoors, and if you like our videos and you have a good time, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram.